Hello everybody, and thanks for checking out my review. Today I'm going to be going over the GMW B5000 TB1. This is the module number 3459, so if you wanted to look up the instructions on this, just do a Google search for Casio Manual 3459, and you'll be able to find the instructions in full detail. So first I wanted to just go into the unboxing. This is a really good premium packaging that they included with this particular watch. You have G-Shock written in gold on the top. You have Casio written in gold on the side, and nothing else on the cardboard outer box. And walking into the inner box, you have a little bit of foam here. You have the cardboard over here. And what you have on the inside is your instruction manual written in multiple languages, FCC statement that goes over the Bluetooth. You have the warnings that go with the solar, and of course your international warranty card. And going into the box itself, you have a nice titanium top over here, and if you were to get the camouflage version, it would be the same finish as the camouflage as well, so it would actually be a camouflage coating. Nothing on the bottom or the sides, just simply that black box with that really nice metal top on there. And you open it up, and you have the watch. And of course, you have the tag, which gives you the price, barcode, and the model. And of course the watch. Alright, so just to give you a physical walkthrough on this watch, I just want to give you a little piece of story here. If you notice, most of the watches that I review, they're typically black, blue, they're stainless steel or black or dark gray. I mean, I'm pretty conservative in the style of watch that I wear. You won't tend to see me walking around with white straps or yellow straps. The only color that I'll typically like on a watch is either an orange dial is as far as I go, but typically I just like the small highlights, like for instance, the gold writing. To me, that pops, but I don't typically like a solid gold watch. I did years ago, but I just typically like conservative. So I just wanted to say that because there's a lot of different metal versions of this watch with that work exactly the same with this module. So typically when you're going through the modes, when you're going through the functions, and when you're linking it up with your smartphone, the features are all pretty much going to be exactly the same. The only difference is you're going to have the different finishes. So you're going to see that they have a stainless steel version, they have a gold stainless steel version, they have the black stainless steel version that has a lot of polish, and it's a lot of mixed polish and brushed finish on the all steel. I wasn't a big fan of that finish. You're going to notice that I did one recently with the all grid version, the Tron. You'll notice that there's a camouflage version of the titanium. I don't typically like designs on the watches. I just like my black watches. And when I walked into a high-end jewelry store and I actually saw this one and the camouflage one, I was very surprised because you can't typically just walk into a G-Shock store and find these watches easily. The thing that I was hesitant about this watch when I saw on the reviews and the different YouTube stuff that I saw out there was I was a little nervous as far as the polished bezel that they have on this watch. And I find that when I actually looked at it in hand, it was very understated. It wasn't something that had a lot of shine to it. The rest of the watch is all plain matte. I mean, they did such a really good job with the matte finish on this. But then what they also did was on the inner links, as you'll notice here, they put a nice polish here. So it's something that it really wears nicely. It goes really well with a lot of my higher end watches. And it's weird to say that about a digital watch, but it was just so well done with this titanium. I'm so impressed. I'm really excited to do this review on this watch. The clasp, it's got the scissor-like design. Very durable. The case back, it's also got the DLC finish as well. And then what they did was they gave you these gold, I believe it's plated, these gold buttons here on the sides along with the screws. And again, it just adds a little pop. It doesn't stand out. It just accents this watch really well. It's polished on the side of the on the side of the bracelet. On the case back as well, the only polish that they have is on the outer portion, and then it's brushed on the inside here. And it gives you a lot of information about the watch, of course. The module, the number, the features with the Bluetooth and everything. Easy to size as far as the micro adjustments, so you can really fine tune how it fits for you. but it does not come with the spring bars as far as the sizing of the actual bracelet. This one is actually pin and collar. So if you're not comfortable with working with pin and collar, I would definitely size this at a jeweler if you're able to. Or if you're comfortable working with the tools, just understand it's not the spring bar that you're normally used to with these types of watches. So one thing apparently about titanium from a manufacturing standpoint is it's more difficult to work with than steel. So Casio had to actually create a mold specifically for this watch along with an assembly line made to work specifically with titanium. So this version, along with the camouflage, they're very, very limited in the release. They didn't give an actual number, but basically I don't think that a lot of jewelers got a lot of these. So if you're able to find one, there's not many to be left out there to be had. This all black version, it was designed after the original DW5000C. So you'll notice on the face, it's got that brick design. And if you think that this version is expensive, take a look on eBay for the original DW5000C, and you're actually going to appreciate the price on this one, because if you look for the original, there's so few out there, it's really become such a collector's item. I was seeing prices as high as $3,000 to $5,000 depending on the condition that you were looking at, and some of them were in pretty poor condition, and I'm talking about the sold versions. The size of the case, it's 49.3 millimeters from top to bottom. It's 43.2 millimeters wide and 13 millimeters thick. It's got a total weight of 110 grams. Again, it's got the titanium case with the DLC finish. It's got sapphire crystal with non-reflective coating, and it's very easy to read. And the matte black bracelet has a great look with those polished interlinks I was telling you about. It's very understated, but it's very well thought out design. It really is a premium watch, and it's something that if you looked at reviews and you were just kind of on the fence with it, when you actually work with it in your hands and put it on your wrist, it's a whole different experience. It really is a fantastic watch. Working with the module is real easy on this watch. Basically you have your mode button on the bottom left, you have your settings button on the top left, you have your light button on the top right, and then you have a little start stop button or the receive time on the bottom right. So to go through the modes, you have your world time. So you have 5 different areas of the world that you could set. And then what's really nice is when you stop on the spot that you want, it scrolls through on the top right screen. So this way you don't just have 3 digits to work with on the second time zone that you're looking for. And you go into the alarms and you have 5 alarms. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the 5th one is a snooze alarm, and then an hourly time signal. And to toggle them on or off, all you have to do is just press the setting button at the top left once to toggle it on and off. And then you have your stopwatch, which is 24 hours. So you just press the bottom right to start it, bottom right to stop it. And then if you wanted to reset it to 0, you just press the top left. And then you go into the 24-hour countdown timer. What's great about this is you can set it by the hours, the minutes, and the seconds. So to set it, all you have to do is press the settings button on the top left. And you can set it by the hours. So if I go backwards here, it'll show me 23. I can set it for 1 hour, press the mode button here to advance, get it down to whatever I want there, press the mode button to advance again, and you can set it by seconds up and down with the top left or the top right button. And then once you're set, you press the setting button, and then to start it, you press the bottom right button, and it starts it. If you want to stop it, you press it again, and then to reset it, you press the setting button here for a split second there, and then it resets it. And then the nice thing is in the modes, you're going to notice in the top right box here, the time is showing in all modes, which is great. And that's it. And on the main screen, obviously, you have the day of the week, the date, the time, the seconds, and then it tells you what's active. So we're in daylight savings time. You have the snooze alarm that's set and the hourly time signal that's set. So you'll see under the date there, it shows you which alarms are active. It's of course got Bluetooth, so you can connect with your smartwatch. It's got the tough solar technology. It's got the multi-band 6, which connects to 6 towers around the world. It's 200-meter water resistant. Got a lot of features. This is the best module, in my opinion, for a Square that they've put out. All right, so now to get you into the connected on the watch, to work with your smartphone, what you want to do is open up the G-Shock application. You'll see the little animation, of course, and then you'll see a little screen here. I go over to the guide, and it instructs you to hold the mode button for 3 seconds. So I'm going to hold that and get the confirmation that it's in connect mode. And you'll see it on the watch there. You'll see it on the smartphone as it tries to connect. And then you get a confirmation on the smartphone that it is connected. So now that the connection is complete, I can go into the guide. And when you go into the guide, it'll give you a little instruction manual on how to work with the watch. So you'll see that it'll give you onboard instructions for the watch itself, for the time mode and what every button does, world time, what the alarm does, and it just gives you instructions all the way through, which is great. So this way you don't have to worry about reading through the entire manual. You go into world time, and world time, I have, for instance, 5 different setups that you have here. That's what they give you to be able to set to the watch. So if I wanted to change one, I can go into this Bangkok, for instance, and if I wanted to change it to regular map here, and I wanted to go over to, let's say, move the map over to India, Mumbai. So I could set the city to the watch, and you'll get a confirmation through the smartphone, and you'll get the confirmation through the watch itself. You'll see the OK there, and the setting is completed. So now what I want to do here is if I wanted to go into, you'll see on the bottom left, world time and home time, I can actually switch my time zone. So it'll show me what city I want to switch it with. So if I go into LA, I press that, and you'll see the little animation on the application. And then it gives me a confirmation to send it over to the watch. So you'll notice on the watch, the time set changes. You get the confirmation once it goes with the OK. And the time is now changed. So that's a great little feature there. Then you go into the time and the place, and this is a little GPS application. And I'm not really sure what the point of this is, but I mean, basically if you travel, you can mark down the time and place that you're at, and it'll just mark the location. So if you're doing a lot of traveling, you could say I was on, this country on this date, whatever it is. The next up is utility, and that gives you the ability to change your alarms. So it always has a 24-hour format. So if I wanted to change it to 6 o'clock in the morning, send it over to the watch, and I could fill all five slots of the alarms there, and of course the hourly time signal, and I could turn it on or off and send it over to the watch as well. Then you have the timer function. So this gives you the ability to be able to set the timer for whatever you want it to be. So I could set it for 10 minutes, send it over to the watch, and then it's going to be in your timer when you go into the countdown timer setting. And then they have a really good feature here. It's a reminder feature. So for instance, I have a meeting that goes on every week. So I could press for a reminder here. There's a second reminder here. I could set up to 18 characters. So I could say meeting. I could set it for the exact date, how many times it's going to repeat every year, every month, the period. So starting from what date to what date, day of the week. So I could set it up to go on the specific day of the week that I'd like it to. And then I could send that setting over to the watch. And the really nice thing about this whole feature, let me just change the day of the week here. Friday, let's say. Send it over to the watch. So what's going to happen is every time you use the light, you're going to see a little reminder, and it's going to blink in an orange hue 2 times that you have something that's coming up that day, and then it'll show you in the box. It'll scroll through on exactly what you have on that day. And then you go into the little gear setting on the top right. You go into your watch, and this is where you could set up the other settings. So for instance, you have the phone finder settings. So you press one of the 3 things that they have there, and once you set that up, that's the tone that it would do. So what you could do is if you end up losing your phone, you press the bottom right hand button on the watch, hold on to it for 5 seconds, and it'll set that feature off, which is great. Then you have the operating check of auto time adjustment. So what this basically does is once a week, it automatically connects to the smartphone. So this way you'll always have the time updated no matter what. Watch display settings, so you could check the 12 or 24-hour format, the month and the date order, and the language used in the settings. You have the operation tone, so that's if it's going to beep or not when you're going through the modes. Then you have the set the time, so this is basically going to disconnect if you don't use the application within a set interval. So you could set that for 3 minutes, 5 minutes, or 10 minutes. The light settings, so you can either do the auto light, which basically activates the light every time you turn it towards your face. And then the light duration would either be 2 seconds or 4 seconds. And then you can send it over. You get the confirmation on the watch. Power saving settings, so that turns off the GPS, the multi-band if you're running low on battery. And then you just basically want to walk around in the daylight for the day and get the battery recharged. And it doesn't take that long to do. And then you have the summertime settings. So basically if I'm in LA, which is what I said earlier, it's going to set it up automatically on or off as far as daylight savings time. And that's working with the application. And just to show you what this watch looks like on the wrist, I just had to remove 2 links. Fits really well. Actually wears a little bit larger than what I'm typically used to when I'm wearing a square. And with the titanium, it's very light, but it's not as light that I'm typically used to with titanium. It's got like a little bit of heft, so it actually wears kind of like a resin watch with the weight itself. But again, with the, when you're turning the watch around and you look at these inner links that are polished up, has a really, just a great look to it. One of the best modules out there. All right, so to give you a comparison between one of the first versions of the G-Shock and the newest version, of course. On the right side here, you have the DW5600C. They call it the Speed Watch. It was named after the movie with Keanu Reeves in it from many years ago, from back in 1994. So the watch is over 25 years old. The only difference between the two is they didn't put the bricks around the DW5600C the way they did with the new version and the original version. Other than that, the module was pretty much the same, and it was pretty much the same exact watch. What impresses me is I haven't had to change the battery on this in over 7 years, and it's still going strong. The sizes are very comparable. Maybe the new version is slightly wider, ever so slightly, and the thickness, the Speed Watch is actually slightly thicker. The finish on the rear is pretty much the same. It's brushed on the inside and polished on the outside. Modules, of course, are completely different. But what I appreciate about what they did with the new version here is, you got these little indented areas here. So they kind of took the same exact design that they had on the older watches, and they kind of kept with that. Of course, with the straps, you have the holes. So, it continues down here with the bracelet. You don't need to. But I do like the way they really stuck with the original design. So they kind of have a feeling of the same way. I really have an appreciation for what they were doing. It was well thought out here. All right, so that's my review on the GMW B5000 TB1. Great watch. Again, I've really been enjoying this a lot more than I anticipated. If you're on the fence about getting it, you're really thinking about it, they're not easy to come by. So if you're able to find one, especially at a good price, jump all over it. If you don't like it when you get it, these are really easy to flip and turn around and get what you paid for it. So I definitely encourage you, check it out. If you see this in person, you're going to get a much different impression than the photos and the videos even that you've been seeing. I want to thank you very much for your support. Please, if you like this video, please press the thumbs up. If you don't like it, press the thumbs down. If you really like it, please subscribe and hit the bell for notifications on future reviews that I'll do. You can also find me on Twitter at DougFNJ. And of course, there's a great website called WatchUseek.com. A lot of great people there, a lot of great discussion, a lot of different watches. So if you're into watches, you want to learn more about them, check out that website. It's a great place to go. So again, I want to thank you very much for watching this review, and you have yourself a great day. Thanks again.